With HomePod, Apple's entering the smart speaker market way behind Amazon and Google. And while the speaker sounds fantastic, it's also frustratingly limited and frankly unfinished. HomePod is made for music. I mean, this dense little round blob sounds really impressive. It's got a 4-inch high excursion woofer, an array of 7 tweeters, 6 microphones, and an A8 processor tying it all together. Apple uses some real software wizardry to bounce sounds off walls and beam them around the room. The HomePod fills your room with the kind of sound you'd expect to hear from a much larger gadget. And it sounds clear and full no matter where you are in the room. It's got more low-end bass than you'd expect, and it never really distorts no matter how loud it gets.
And it does get really loud.
But it's just so limited. 2 key features were cut before launch. You can't use 2 HomePods in a stereo pairing configuration, and you can't set up multiple HomePods for multi-room audio around the house. These features are going to be added back in a software update later this year. HomePod also only works with a single account. So once you set it up with your iPhone or iPad, the speaker attaches to your Apple Music account and your iCloud account. Anyone who talks to it can set reminders or make notes or send messages on your account. Sure, you can turn these things off, but eliminating features is hardly the fix for this problem. And then there are the things it just can't do at all, like set calendar appointments or call an Uber or start a phone call. HomePod also doesn't really work with any music service besides Apple's. You can use Siri to play back iTunes purchases, music sync through iTunes Match, or Apple Music. And for those, it works great, and it hears your commands really well even when loud music is playing. But the speaker doesn't work with Spotify or Pandora or any other service. You can use those on your phone and then send the sound to HomePod with AirPlay, but if you're going to do that, you might as well get a Bluetooth speaker. Did I mention this isn't even a Bluetooth speaker? It has Bluetooth 5 compatible hardware, but it's only used during setup, which, by the way, you can only do with iOS devices. At least setup is faster and easier than any other smart speaker I've used. And don't get me started on how downright dumb Siri can be sometimes. Hey Siri, what time is it in Pyeongchang?
Sorry, I don't know where that is.
Never mind, Siri. There's really no 2 ways about it. HomePod just isn't ready. It doesn't do stereo pairs or multi-room audio, it doesn't differentiate between voices, and Siri is downright frustrating for everything other than controlling Apple Music. I want Siri to work with other music services, but even if it never does, Apple should allow the HomePod to work as a Bluetooth speaker. And it's absolutely critical that it learn to recognize different voices and work with multiple accounts. Fortunately, these are all things that can be fixed with software updates, and the hardware is fantastic. But until Apple addresses some of these issues, it's hard to recommend HomePod, even to Apple fans.